Gather round, friends, and lend an ear to the embers of the unexplained. Percy Hawthorne here, your guide to the dusty archives of the extraordinary. Tonight's file, pulled in the shelves marked Midnight Signal at Devil's Tower, crackles with static, pine resin, and the weight of choices made under a watchful moon. So, settle in, perhaps check the locks are bolted, and let the tale unfold. The Wyoming night clung to Devil's Tower like cold velvet, pierced only by the stark, bone-white light of the full moon. It etched the ancient volcanic monolith's fluted columns into sharp relief, casting deep, shifting shadows that seemed to writhe at its base. Below, amidst the wind-sculpted pines and the scars of old lightning strikes on the ridges, two figures moved with practiced silence. Gabriel Sterling adjusted the sensitive antenna array strapped to his backpack, his eyes, sharp and thoughtful behind wire-rimmed glasses, scanning the towering edifice above. Beside him, Milo Hart practically vibrated with nervous energy, his gaze darting not towards the stars, but into the ink-black woods surrounding them. "Feel that, Gabe?" Milo whispered, his usual humor replaced by a taut edge. "Like ants crawling up my spine, but made of ice. Big cosmic ants." He shivered, pulling his worn leather jacket tighter. Gabriel didn't need Milo's cosmic intuition to feel it. The air itself hummed with a subtle pressure, a resonance that vibrated in his molars. It wasn't just the geological presence of the tower, though that was profound enough. A deep, ancient thrumming like the Earth's slow heartbeat. Layered over it, like a discordant chime, was something else. Anticipation, tinged with profound, almost sorrowful reverence. He closed his eyes for a second, letting his empathic sense unfurl. Whispers of pain, exertion, and fierce, focused hope brushed against his consciousness. Echoes of the sun dances performed here over a century ago, the Lakota seeking visions and strength on this sacred ground. But beneath that, fainter, stranger, a pulse. Not sound, not yet, but potential for sound, gathering like storm clouds in the psychic atmosphere. "The ritual grounds resonate," Gabriel murmured, his voice low and resonant. "Strong echoes. But there's something else, coiling, the signals building." He consulted the complex frequency analyzer on his wrist. It screened curtly a chaotic dance of noise. 37 minutes, the predicted pulse window. "Milo, keep sharp. That crawling sensation, trust it." "Oh, I'm trusting it straight into panic mode," Milo muttered, his hand instinctively checking the compact, high-powered flashlight clipped to his belt. Less for illumination, more for disorientation. His photographic memory was already cataloging their position. 200 yards northwest of the main trailhead, elevation 4,250 feet. Cluster of limber pines at 11 o'clock providing minimal cover. Place feels watched, and not by friendly owls. They press deeper. Skirting the base of the tower, the scent of pine and damp earth thick in the cool air. Gabriel paused frequently, placing a hand on the rough, cool rock face. Each touch sent ripples through his senses. Millennia of geological time, the fleeting passage of animals, the profound spiritual signatures left by generations of indigenous peoples. And then a jarring, discordant note, anger, greed, a metallic taste of violence. "Recent, very recent. Trouble," Gabriel stated, his voice flat. "Multiple individuals. Armed. Their intent, it's invasive. Violent. They're searching for something." "The ancient portal nut jobs?" Milo groaned softly. "The ones ranting online about alien stargates on the tower? Seriously? Tonight? Couldn't they pick, I don't know, a Tuesday?" "Apparently not," Gabriel said, his jaw tightening. "Their energy is focused, frantic. They believe the signal tonight is the key. We need to get to the high ground on the eastern ridge before they do. That's the optimal reception point according to the historical reports and the geological surveys. Moving faster now, urgency lending wings to their feet, they scrambled up a steep, scree-laden slope. The tower loomed even larger, a silent sentinel against the star-strewn sky. Milo's cosmic itch intensified into a painful throb behind his eyes. "Gabe, they're close. Real close. And they're not just armed, they're twitchy, like cornered rats with rifles." Suddenly, a harsh beam of light slashed through the trees below them. followed by a rough shout. Movement. Up on the ridge. Fan out. Well, the element of surprise was nice while it lasted. Milo quipped, but his eyes were wide. He grabbed Gabriel's arm. Left. Through that cleft in the rocks. They dove into the narrow fissure, just as another flashlight beam swept over where they'd been standing. Pressed against the cool stone, they could hear heavy boots crunching on the loose rock, harsh breathing. Think it's them? A gruff voice asked. The eggheads from the Foundation? Who else be dumb enough to be out here tonight hunting spooky radio waves? Another voice sneered. Boss says they might know something. Capture if possible. Otherwise, the towers claimed plenty of fools before. Gabriel felt the malice in their words like physical blows. Milo clenched his fists, his mind racing through maps, escape routes, and the utterly useless fact that he knew the calorie count of every pastry at his cafe. All right, Spark, Gabriel whispered, his voice calm despite the adrenaline singing in his veins. Time for some improv. We need to draw them away from the ridge. That pulse is coming. Milo took a deep breath, the familiar mass of chaotic charms settling over his fear. He winked at Gabriel. Distraction duty, coming right up. Try not to decipher the meaning of life before I get back. He slipped out of the fissure in the opposite direction, moving with surprising stealth. Seconds later, a loud, exaggerated cough echoed from further down the slope, followed by Milo's voice, pitched higher and dripping with theatrical panic. Oh my stars! Was that a bear? A really big government experiment gone wrong bear? Help! Somebody! I dropped my gluten-free trail mix. The militiamen's lights immediately swung toward the sound, their voices barking commands. There! Down there! Move! Gabriel watched their lights recede, a flicker of gratitude for Milo's chaotic genius warming him despite the cold. He emerged from the cleft and scrambled the last few yards to the relatively flat top of the eastern ridge. The view was staggering. The vast, moonlit expanse of the Black Hills spread out below, the tower's immense bulk rising beside him, blocking half the sky. He quickly set up the antenna array, connecting it to his laptop and a sophisticated radio receiver. The screen remained a mess of static, but the atmospheric pressure, the psychic hum, was intensifying. He placed a hand on the rock again, grounding himself, opening his senses fully to the tower and the land. The echoes flooded in. The sun dancer's agony and ecstasy, the deep, slow pulse of the Earth's magma chamber far below, and the gathering, alien thrum. It wasn't hostile, he realized with a jolt. It felt observational, curious, but immensely powerful, like the focused attention of a god. And intertwined with it, a profound sadness emanating from the tower itself, a sorrow for the violation brewing below. Below, the sound of pursuit changed. Milo's voice, now adopting a terrible southern accent, rang out. Yo, best rethink your life choices. This here's protected by, intergalactic badgers. Yeah, with laser eyes. A startled shout, the clatter of a dropped rifle, and a string of curses suggested Milo's distraction involved more than just words. Gabriel smiled faintly. Milo's cosmic intuition combined with his improv skills made him unervingly good at causing chaos. Suddenly, the static on Gabriel's screen coalesced. A single, impossibly pure tone pierced the night, emanating not just from the speakers but vibrating to the rock beneath him. The midnight signal. It wasn't a simple pulse. It was a complex waveform, a carrier wave humming with intricate, layered modulations. It resonated in his chest cavity, made his teeth ache, and sent a shockwave through his empathic senses. This wasn't just a signal. It was a language built on harmonic resonance, temporal shifts, and something else, an emotional signature woven into the very frequencies. He frantically started recording, his cryptologic mind shifting into overdrive. Patterns emerged instantly, repeating sequences nested within sequences. Fractal-like structures in the waveform. It was unlike any human code, any natural phenomenon he'd ever encountered. It felt alive, sentient, and it was broadcasting something immense. Not coordinates, not a warning, a story. Fragments flooded his perception, vast, swirling nebulae. the birth cries of stars, the lonely trajectory of something ancient and purposeful hurtling through the void, and recognition. A profound sense of recognition focused on this planet, the specific point. It's a beacon, Gabriel breathed, all momentarily overriding caution. But not just a, here I am, beacon. It's the record, a message in a bottle from something that passed through here, millennia ago, and it's waking up. A sharp cry from below shattered his focus. Milo, not playful this time. Painful. Gabriel ripped off his headphones. The pure tone continued, filling the night with its otherworldly song. He grabbed his pack and scrambled down the ridge, his empathic sense screaming with Milo's sharp spike of fear and anger. He found him near the base of the tower, in a small clearing scarred by ancient fire rings. Milo was backed against the rock face, clutching his ribs, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. 3 militiamen surrounded him, rifles trained. Their leader, a hulking man with a shaved head and eyes like chips of flint, sneered. "Where's your brainy friend, freak?" "The one who talks to rocks," the leader spat. He gestured towards a vibrating tower with his rifle barrel. "This signal, it's the key. Tell us how to open the gate." "Gate?" Milo managed a shaky grin, spitting blood. "Buddy, the only gate here leads to a world of disappointment and probable jail time. That signal? It's basically cosmic elevator music. Very soothing, highly ignorable." "Shut him up, Hicks." The leader growled to one of his men. Gabriel stepped into the clearing, his hands raised, but his posture radiating a calm authority that made the militiamen tense. "Leave him alone." His voice cut through the hum of the signal, like a knife. He focused his empathic sense, not just feeling their aggression, but pushing back with a wave of focused calm, of absolute certainty. The men flinched, momentarily confused. The signal isn't a key. It's a message, an ancient one, and you're desecrating sacred ground to chase a fantasy. The leader, Vance, recovered quickly, snarling. "Sacred ground? Superstitious nonsense. This is a machine, an alien artifact, and that signal is its activation code. You know how to read it. Tell us." He leveled his rifle directly at Milo. "Or your clown gets a new ventilation system." Gabriel's mind raced. The signal's complex patterns flowed behind his eyes. He could feel the tower's distress, the land's pain at the intrusion. He could feel the ancient sorrow within the signal itself. And he could feel Milo's defiant fear, his unwavering trust. Saving Milo was paramount, but unleashing these violent, deluded men on whatever mechanism the signal might trigger, the potential consequences were catastrophic. The portal they sought might be real, but not in the way they imagined. The signal felt like a wake-up call, a hand reaching out. What happened if that hand was grabbed by greed and violence? He locked eyes with Milo. A flicker of understanding passed between them. Milo gave an almost imperceptible nod towards the tower, then rolled his eyes dramatically at Vance. "Oh, for Pete's sake, Vance. Fine. You want the big secret? It's—" He paused, milking the moment. "Cheese." Vance blinked. "What?" "The signal," Milo declared, throwing his arms wide, wincing slightly. "It's transmitting the ultimate recipe. Intergalactic fondue. Requires a very specific type of moon rock heated by, pure stupidity, which you guys have in spades. Gabe, tell him." It was the opening Gabriel needed. While Vance and his men were momentarily flummoxed by Milo's absurdity, Gabriel acted, not with violence, but with connection. He slammed his palms flat against the cold, vibrating rock of Devil's Tower. He opened himself completely, not just his empathic sense, but his intellect, his spirit, his deep attunement to the patterns of the universe. He poured his understanding of the signal, his perception of its sorrowful message, and his fierce protective love for the land and his friend into the stone. The tower responded. The low, thrumming Gabriel had always felt intensified 100-fold. The ground beneath their feet shuddered, not violently, but with a deep, resonant groan. The pure tone of the signal suddenly shifted, modulated, weaving Gabriel's empathic broadcast, the images of the militiamen's violence, their greed, the sacred ground's violation, into its own harmonic tapestry. It amplified it, focused it, and projected it back. The effect was instantaneous and terrifying. Vance and his men screamed, not in pain, but in sheer, overwhelming psychic assault. They dropped their rifles, clawed at their heads as they tried and tear out the visions flooding their minds. The suffering they caused, the sacredness they'd violated, magnified 1,000 times by the ancient sentience of the tower and the incomprehensible power riding the signal. They saw themselves as despoilers, insignificant and vile beneath the gaze of cosmic time. The leader, Vance, vomited violently before collapsing to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. The others fled, stumbling blindly into the dark woods, shrieking. The signal, its message delivered in a way Gabriel never intended, began to fade. The pure tones softened, diminished, dissolving back into the background of the earth and wind. The oppressive pressure lifted. The tower's resonance settled back into its deep, ancient rhythm. The sorrow still present, but now tinged with something else. Acknowledgement? Gratitude? Gabriel slumped against the rock, drained, sweat plastering his hair to his forehead. Milo limped over, wiping blood from his eye, his usual spark dimmed but not extinguished. Whoa! Remind me never to get on your bad side when you're near a big rock. Beacon, what did you do? I gave him the message, Gabriel rasped, his voice raw. The tower, the signal, it amplified it, showed them the truth of what they were doing. He looked towards the woods where the militiamen had fled. They won't be back. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. Milo whistled softly, looking up at the now silent monolith. So the cosmic fondue recipe? A weak smile touched Gabriel's lips. Something like that. It wasn't an activation code, Milo. It was a greeting, an incredibly old one, and a farewell. He looked back at his laptop, the waveform now flatlining. It wasn't meant for us. Not primarily. It was meant for others. Long gone, or not yet arrived. We just overheard the echo. Milo nodded slowly, understanding dawning. And the portal? Maybe it was never a physical door, Gabriel said, gazing at the stars. Maybe the portal was a signal itself. A bridge across time or space for a message. And we were the unintended recipients. Or maybe the guardians. He placed a hand back on the tower, feeling its enduring strength, its quiet watchfulness. The ritual grounds are safe. The message, we heard it, we felt it, but its full meaning, he shook his head. That might take lifetimes to unravel. They gathered their equipment in silence, the enormity of the night settling upon them. As they began the long trek back down, the first faint streaks of dawn lightened the eastern sky. The Devil's Tower stood silent once more, a dark sentinel against the paling stars. Its secrets momentarily retreated, but its presence more profound than ever. And so, the ledger on this particular strangeness closes for now. Percy Hawthorne's voice resumed, warm and contemplative. Gabriel Sterling and Milo Hart walked away from the Devil's Tower that dawn, bearing the weight of a cosmic whisper and the scars of a terrestrial skirmish. They saved the sacred ground, yes, but the true message, that ancient song woven into radio waves and stone, remains locked in its celestial cipher. Was it a beacon for travelers long vanished? A warning? A lament? Or simply a story told into the void, waiting for an ear attuned to its frequency? The militia, broken by the tower's amplified conscience, vanished into folds of forgotten conspiracy, a testament to the peril of misunderstanding the profound. Remember, friends, the world hums with more mysteries and answers, often right beneath our feet or vibrating just beyond the range of ordinary hearing. Keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and perhaps carry a spare coffee for a friend. You never know when they might need a spark of humor or a steady compass in the face of the inexplicable. This is Percy Hawthorne, reminding you, the archive is never truly complete. Good night.